All right, ready to go.
All right, hello, and welcome to the first ever Disability in Screenwriting workshop. We've been working really hard behind the scenes on this, and we are super excited to be coming here to, create disabled characters. Um, it's it's something that's been in the media a lot, for many years, but unfortunately, that doesn't always mean that it's been done in a positive and good way. Which is why we're here today, hopefully, so that as you as screenwriters, you'll be able to improve those, get better at creating these disabled characters. So yeah, I'm Joel, and I am a disabled screenwriter. Fairly new. I'm not a professional screenwriter yet, but all of the stuff that I work on have disability involved in it as a major part of a story. So all of my protagonists that I've ever created have some disability or other. And we have our co-host Willow. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Willow. I've been I do also a lot of screenwriting, not professionally, working on getting better at it. And I also like to write more slice of life kind of stories that prominently feature disabled characters.
Yeah. I guess one thing that we want to clear up, right off the bat is, what is this really? What is this? Is this a class? It's not really a class. This is a workshop. And so it's very interactive. It sort of relies on interaction between all of us here. We're less like, the teachers. We're more of the facilitators. We want to create a safe environment for disabled people and able-bodied people alike. And again, we want to help you write better disabled characters. And so we are actually kind of two workshops. So disability in screenwriting for this server ScriptCamp, and we are every other Saturday, at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British time. And yeah, so we will alternate, and I'll come back to that in a second. The other Saturday will be Disability in Fiction on our sister server WordCamp. And again, those are the same times. So next week will be on WordCamp, and then the week after ScriptCamp, and so on. We'll just alternate. In this workshop, we will be looking at more of the characters that you're creating, and if you want sensitivity readings, or if you want to make sure that you're writing it accurately, or to the best of your ability, essentially. You can bring short scenes here and stories, and yeah, we can sort of bounce ideas that might help you. So if there are any disabled writers here, you're more than welcome to share your experiences if they're relevant to the character that someone's writing. And I guess the idea is to help, is to have, well, part of the idea is to have disabled people sharing their experiences so that able-bodied writers are able to write better disabled characters. We'll also be creating disabled characters from image prompts, like in the character prompts channel, and we'll review disabled characters in existing TV and film. So I was talking to Willow earlier about about how I'm binge watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, which has a couple of disabled characters, which is I've got through that very quickly, and I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, we'll be reviewing disabled characters like that. Now, this is the real reason for this workshop existing. Disabilities are one of the most misrepresented and misunderstood minorities in the media.
Hey guys.
Hi, NJ Robbins. We're getting weird sounds from your mic, but welcome. Yeah, so we want to help people write better. There's a really cool fact that I love, or quote, I guess. Disability is the only minority that you can suddenly become a part of. You can have people of any age or religion or whatever, any demographic, and any of them can be disabled. And actually, there's an estimate of about 20 to 25% of the world population have some form of disability. And so I often wonder, why is it not in the media more? Why is it not shown? So again, that's partly what this workshop is about. Now, because we want this to be a safe space for both disabled writers and able-bodied writers, we need to have some guidelines in place so that we're able to make this the best possible place, to be, make it a safe space for everyone. And so that means that we have to be respectful for all, and we won't tolerate any insults, whether it's about disability, race, or any other thing. Any insults at all won't be tolerated. We welcome questions. Now, it can be a bit difficult when asking questions to know what is respectful and how to ask questions in the right way. I think it's difficult to set a hard rule there, but I think the general rule is as long as it is respectful and when it's welcome. And again, we'll be reading each other's scripts. So if you want your script read, then you will need to have given some helpful feedback to other people on the server. Now, me and Willow and Nacho are all on the moderator's channel, which means that we hear who's not giving feedback, who's not participating in the server. We want participation on the server, and if you want your script read, we will ask that you're giving feedback to other people and helpful feedback rather than just looking for feedback on your own work. Because all of this is all voluntary, so you have to give a little something to get something back, essentially. And that goes for across the server, but in this workshop it is a bit of a guideline. And again, we're all here to learn and improve, which is why we have these guidelines in place. Yeah. Now, for the purposes of this workshop, there are 5 types of disabilities. I know when I spoke to Willow about this, she wasn't sure what they were. In case you don't know, we actually have a pride flag. The disabled community represented. So these 5 colours all represent something different: physical, intellectual, hidden disabilities, mental health, and sensory. So if you if you have anything relating to those 5 things, any of those 5 things, then you are classified as disabled. Across the world, different countries and societies have different meanings. So I've just noticed that I can't see chat. Okay. So just catching up with chat. I forgot to do that earlier. Yeah. So if you have one of these disabilities, then for the purposes of this workshop, you're disabled. If you choose to identify that way. But again, we are very welcoming of whether or not you have a disability. We discussed a little bit. Excuse me. We discussed a little bit about disability in fiction, which is our workshop for WordCamp. And again, it's a similar sort of thing. I forgot to edit that slide. But yeah, we'll be rather than it saying TV and film, we'll be looking at in all forms of media, books in particular, but other forms as well. So yeah, let's get this started. I wonder if anyone has any scripts featuring disabled characters that they would like to share. If so, you can unmute and send it in the disability chat channel. Sure, Willow, go ahead. Actually, I tell you what, before you do that, why don't we, if everyone's comfortable, just introduce ourselves and, a bit about who you are and maybe your writing experience, just so that we're, able to be more comfortable together. I don't know if that's something people want to do. Um, so we'll work up a list. We've spoken to Willow. Nacho, how about you go first? Just a bit of an intro. Okay, Nacho, we'll come back to you later on. Newt, do you have any, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Um, so my name is actually Alex. I started this I guess this creative media company during the pandemic to um I guess a lot of the stories that I want to start writing and sharing with people are about being kinder to each other, and so I'm working on a number of different types of formats. So I've written a script for a film. We're actually going to be filming it this summer. It's a short film, and it does feature a disabled character, physically disabled character. And while I was researching that story, I came across another story that really inspired me, and so I wrote a children's book, and it also figures like a disabled character very prominently as well. And it happens to, yeah, so it was inspired by somebody who I consider a hero of mine, and she's a disabled person, and in order to learn her story, I actually had to learn a foreign language. So, um, because she's not from here, she's from the other side of the world. Uh, is that enough info, or?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Um, and if you're comfortable, maybe you can share some of that script. Maybe not the one you're filming, but the other one. It'd be interesting to read it at some point if you're comfortable doing so. But for now, let's continue going up the list. NJ Robbins, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're writing?
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I just, my name is Nicholas Robinson, but you can call me NJ Robbins. I'm recently working on a new show. Oh, and I mean a new series called Timmy Adventures in the Orphan Gang. It's about a plucky adventurer who finds himself in a small town where he's a ragtag group of foster kids,
Okay, cool.
and together
So,
they
how
go
long?
on these adventures. And
Sorry, go on.
huh?
I didn't realize you were still. You cut out for a second. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, together they go on these great adventures and misadventures in and outside of Emersville, which is a small town, an Illinois town, of course.
Cool.
And
So, oh,
I was thinking about creating an episode, oh, about secrets. And the oldest member of the gang, Jesse, has a big secret, right? And she doesn't want to reveal it. So Timmy told her his secret, and he said he has autism.
okay. I guess what we were looking for more was a bit of an intro to you rather than your work. But yeah, that's good. It's nice to hear about
I've
what
been
you're.
writing since 2020, and I want to do something that I could be proud of. And before you know it, Timmy Adventures becomes brainchild ever since. But I have other ideas, you know, like a boy band like a boy band story and a family sitcom, and the boy band story is fictional.
Cool. Thanks for that. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself? Are you there, Mark? Alright, we'll move on to Lasagna.
It's me, Lasagna. Hello. I'm Lasagna. I've been writing scripts for not that long, but I've been writing since pretty middle school where I where I just wrote random shit, honestly. Um and pretty fun stuff, I guess. I love writing. I've written a script. So I'm still working on that a little bit. Then I'll work on other stuff. I don't really know what to say in an introduction. um, but I exist. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Joshua, would you like to say a bit about yourself? How long you've been writing, and if you're working on any characters with disability, or if you're disabled, or
Yeah, I've been writing for the last 20 years, and I've written about 5 novels, and I just started writing screenplays. And then I don't know, I saw this on Meetup, and I was kind of interested. I suffer from bipolar disorder, and I suffered from depression my whole life. And I just want to learn how, if I do write a character with a disability, I just want to do it in a sensitive way. So I'm just here to learn about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Welcome. Gar, would you like to introduce yourself? You there, Gar? Alright, we'll move to Denise. If you'd like to unmute and tell us a bit about yourself. You can't unmute. Okay, so there's a button. Are you on a mobile or are you mobile or PC? Either way, there should be a button at the bottom that looks like a little next to the headphones symbol. Button's not working. That's great. Okay. Okay. If you want to, write in the text chat a bit about your disability, then you can do, or a bit about you, Rob. Sorry. And Nacho, while Denise is typing, are you free to talk now, or?
Yes, sure. Yeah, so my name is Nacho. Yeah, I've been writing screenplays since high school, and I recently wrote a novel let's see, like a couple NaNoWriMos ago. And so I'm working on revising that. I'm not disabled. My sister is, she has cerebral palsy. And so I kind of grew up with a certain perspective of like, like that's just something kind of normal, and just the way people sometimes would treat my sister, made me angry sometimes. But yeah, so in terms of characters, I'm not really working on a project right now with a disabled character, but I have some ideas. And yeah, also I teach some of the classes here on ScriptCamp about like screenwriting fundamentals, and I lead the advanced lab, which meets every Saturday.
Cool, thank you. I'll read out what Denise J has said. I wrote an unscripted pilot that follows dynamic families that have cognitive and physical challenges. I was told not to say disabilities or special needs, and I have fibromyalgia, and my kids have ADD and ADHD. Thank you, Denise. You raise a good point, actually, and that's about the language that we use when talking about disabilities. And there is a bit of a debate in the community about whether we want to use the word disabled or disability. And the general consensus is that actually it's okay to use the word disabled. It's not a bad word, it's not a slur, it's not offensive to to anyone. So as a whole, it's okay to use the word disability. I think, yeah, you said physical challenges, and you got into a heated convo about disabilities. Yeah, I know it can get quite heated, which hopefully we'll try to avoid today. But yeah, the general consensus in the disability community is that it's okay to use the words disability and disabled. Airports use special needs. Yeah, like I say, there's a lot of different terms that can be used. There are lots and lots of variations. I mean, there's probably a dictionary of words that you could use. But yeah, when we talk about it here in the workshop, we'll be using terms disabled, because that's what physical differences. Yeah, we can allow that. I think, but yeah. All right then. I think everyone has had a chance to introduce themselves. Yeah. So, is cognitive and physical differences okay with you, or would you watch something like that? Yeah, I absolutely would. As a disabled person myself, I'm often looking for, content that includes disabilities. And frequently I'm finding that there's not a lot. Not a lot that's written well, or so absolutely, I would watch something like that. I think my car should edutain. I would say entertain. Rather inspire, create, serve. Yeah. Okay, is a word. Okay. So both education and entertaining. Okay, hang on. I'm going to scroll up a bit because I'm moving quicker than I am. Yeah. So, like I say, it's a very underserved audience. Considering that 20% of the world have some form of disability, it is, that's not reflected in film and media.
Sorry, could you repeat the percentage? You said 30%?
20 to 25%.
Oh, okay.
According
Thank
to,
you.
I think it's either the UN or World Health Organization. I can't remember which. But yeah, so between 20 and 25%. which is a lot. So yeah. The only phrase I've heard that is despised is differently abled. Yeah, that one is quite hated. Some disabled people do use it, and again, everyone is different, and everyone has a right to have their own opinion. But yeah,
Can I say something?
yeah, of course.
I just wanted to add that it's one of the great things to have so many people here who have different disabilities, that we want to write our disabled characters, but it can very well be about a disability that we don't have. And so we don't know everything about every disability. And so having people with different types here is really helpful, and it gives us a whole new perspective that we can learn and help to improve our writing. And just to be clear, you do not have to tell what your disability is. Don't even have to be disabled at all, but you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I just want to say that with so many different people, it just makes it enhances the learning process.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah. And again, to reiterate, I think that when most people thinking about a disability, you think of some of the obvious ones, a wheelchair user, or someone who's blind, someone who's deaf, or an amputation, or and I think that for most people, that's where the list of disabilities stops, as it were. And there are literally thousands, possibly millions of different medical conditions, which is, all of them are so diverse. And so hopefully, as we grow, we'll have more writers and more people with different experiences, so that you can maybe get to understand a bit about other people's ways of life, and how you can improve your characters, and have unique characters that aren't in the media.
Can I say something here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everything you're saying obviously is very, very important. I would argue that equally, or maybe more important, is that disabled people are somehow in the process of making whatever TV programs, films. You need disabled producers, disabled directors, as well as disabled writers. The whole thing doesn't change just by us writing more accurate characters or people, or I'm very visibly disabled, always have been. But I kind of managed to forge a kind of career I worked in TV, I've worked in films, but not as a writer. There was almost no one else, so we're not going to get a representation until a lot more roles are filled by disabled people, or at least people who have kind of disabled life experience. And it's such a number, going from what you've been saying about the hundreds, possibly thousands of different definitions of disability, and it's almost an unchaseable kind of thing, because where do you draw the line between personality trait and a disability? It's kind of irrelevant. But if you have many, many, many more people who have different life experience and are actually making things, in charge of stuff, get it produced, to get green lights for stuff. We're going to get a better representation of the human experience, which is what we're after. Ultimately, I don't think any of us want a kind of pigeonhole, a ghetto of like that's a disabled story, or the ultimate aim is that our experience is part of the bigger universal experience. I don't want to be thought of as special. My experience is going to be different to any of yours,
Yeah,
and each of yours is different to everyone else. So
absolutely. You raised some important points there. You said a lot of things that I absolutely agree with. Like, there just does need to be more disabled producers. I guess I can only do so much. It's important to have disabled screenwriters. Interestingly, I don't know any disabled screenwriters other than a couple on the server. So yeah, that's partly what this is about. It's about having disabled screenwriters come together and encouraging. If we get enough interest, when I was considering starting up a writers group for disabled people, but failing that, we will have this workshop. And yeah, we do need more disabled producers and people from all over the industry in order to make real change. But I think that this is a start. You also mentioned in passing an interesting point about the line between disability and personality. And there is a very clear line, but from my experience at least, I found that having a disability has a massive impact on literally every aspect of my life. My personality and my education, my health, my family, literally every aspect of my life has been affected
of
in
course,
one way or
absolutely,
another. By definition of the word
yeah.
disability. And sometimes I think that when in the media, people will write a disability and go, right, that disability is their personality. Well, actually, that's not true. That almost never happens in real life. So yeah.
Sorry, maybe I just didn't make it clear. What I meant was that it's a difference between people could just be something that you can put down as a difference in, that person is just tidy, to take stereotypes, and very big cliches. So I apologize for that. But if you could say that, you could say that person, is ADHD or has a problem there. But where is the? My point is that I'm worried about how, through very well-meaning ways, we end up putting ourselves in boxes that don't need to be. That's all. It's very. Didn't mean it in. It just came out wrong, I think.
Right. All right. That's cool. If anyone has anything to, reply to that, or any points they want to, raise, you are more than welcome to unmute yourself. Denise says that, the idea is to normalize all experiences. There are actors and actresses whose kids have issues, But that's why we want genuine representation. Out of the box class dynamic, like all of us being trade places. Yeah, it's important that we normalize all disabilities. How do you feel about invisible versus visible disabilities? What do you mean by that? And how they're represented on screen?
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you, Jason. Well,
So, I think so. I guess the context is more like I feel like there's always been a difference in representation on screen between those with. There's been a lot more representation of those with what I would consider like invisible disabilities, things like chronic pain, addiction, personality disorders, that kind of stuff, because they don't require the people to necessarily have the lived experiences to be able to represent them on the screen. As in, like, they should, but they don't necessarily have to because they're not as, visible. And I was just kind of curious on if you feel that, the focus, if that class and that group of people are also included in these topics that you're discussing, like would you consider those part of the issue as well? I guess I'm not 100% sure. Kind of asking. Sorry.
I think that's it's interesting because the way that I see it is, on the one hand, you have more visible disabilities shown because it's easier to see on screen that person is disabled. If you're dealing with a ADHD, for example, that's very hard, or can be very hard, to actually film and to show to the audience, for example, as opposed to a wheelchair user, for example, who you see immediately is disabled, you know. But on the other hand, you could argue that you see more visible disabilities, well, yeah, because it's visible and therefore it's easier to see. But also, it can be easier to show their hidden disabilities because you can just pick up any actor, and it looks like they have a hidden disability. Whereas if you want an able-bodied actor, which happens a lot, if you want an able-bodied actor to play a disabled character, a visibly disabled character takes a lot more work to make them look disabled. I mean, the solution to that would be have disabled actors play disabled characters. Well, I'm not in the industry, so my opinion doesn't count at the moment.
I think that frames my question better. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, as Denise said, visible disabilities are easy to see, so she's put the example of broken legs have a cast. That's very easy to see. Lasagna says, I have both hidden disability and visible disability because I'm super cool. One got acknowledged, the other went unknown. Guess which one was which? Visible disabilities are easier to be picked up for obvious reasons. They're more seen and they're diagnosed by doctors generally a lot quicker. You only have to, look up hidden disability to hear the stories of lots of people with hidden disabilities about how hard it is for them to get diagnosed. I went off topic there a bit, sorry. ADHD is invisible and just as challenging. Chronic pain is thought of as fake as an excuse. There's a lot of misunderstandings around chronic pain and how difficult it is living with from my experience as an autistic person, I've noticed that people have a tendency to make us innocent little butterflies which look on at the world with awe and with me, which is further from the truth. I am very much a normal guy outside of my tics and obsessions, and I find it weird that they keep making us innocent to butterflies. Oh my goodness, yes. The amount of I can never say the word. Infantilization. I feel like I've added too many syllables. But yeah, the amount of people who try to make disabled people into little children, because an able-bodied person would have to explain that one to me. When it says, I knew as a kid that I was different and struggled to relate. Took over 30 years to find out why. Autism is, it's very common that there's a lot of misinformation around autism. Because of the media, man, this is a topic I can speak for hours about. Infantilization, that's the word I was looking for. I did say it right, okay. Yeah, sorry. There is so much misinformation about disability because it makes it look, it makes it more cinematic or whatever. But man alive, I'll give you an example. So, you might have heard of the film Split, or maybe of Primal Fear, Dr. Glass. Those movies all depict what's known as dissociative identity disorder. It used to be called multiple personality disorder. I have a friend who has the disorder, and they have to be in the closet about it, because if they came out about it, they would be forced to lose their job. And that's purely because of the misinformation around it. So media is very powerful, and we can use that power for good, but it has also done so much damage to those who are disabled. Willow, were you going to say something?
I forgot what it was now.
That's right, no worries. Yeah. Multiple personality disorder, which, by the way, is the old name, the outdated term. Yeah, it is seen as dangerous, again, because of movies like Split and Primal Fear. So yeah, again, that's another reason for this workshop. We want to make sure that never happens again. Because people do literally suffer because of it. If you guys are comfortable with unmuting rather than messaging in chat, it makes my job a bit easier. And Lizana says media is super powerful. It influences all of us, and we take the info it feeds us to heart, and often it's misinformation. Yeah, again, media is so powerful, and you don't even realize how much it changes you. Sometimes, yeah.
I guess we're all pretty susceptible to it. Like, I consume media a lot, and often, like, I get fed misinformation, and then I realize later, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then, like, sometimes you be getting a little stupid. But yeah, it's a super powerful medium. That's why I think we should all use it, like, pretty responsibly. I know people can make what they want, but when they write about a certain minority, I just feel like they ought to, do it in a way that's actually informative, or at least like normalized, rather than out there and misinformed.
Yeah.
I guess
And
that's my thing.
absolutely. So I think part of being a writer is doing your research. I mean, you hear often about actors doing the research to try and make sure that they portray a character well. But, they at the end of the day, they do to some extent have to follow the screenwriter and producer and director. And so you need all of them to be doing their research, and, making sure that what they're saying is again to hurt other people.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to comment about the media is that especially lately, like I've been finding media more and more, it seems to me, is geared towards pushing, pushing the fear button, like it seems to be, particularly like a lot on social media, but it creeps into mainstream media too, where the agenda is making people afraid, and so I think this is one of those things that gets in the way of understanding, because it's easy to make people afraid. You can do that in a second, with scary sound bites and sometimes misrepresenting facts, and it takes a lot longer to and requires more patience, I think, to to create and follow stories that engender, I guess, more thoughtful discussion and interactions.
Yeah, absolutely. Media superpower. Oh, I read that one already. Teen rom-coms are supposed to make me feel joy, but they still end up being scary. If anyone wants to, I'll open up the floor for people to send in maybe scenes of projects they're working on that have disabled characters, or maybe if you don't want to send in a scene, you can just unmute and tell me about a disabled character, maybe someone that you're creating.
Well, like I created two disabled characters. I don't know which one you'd want me to start with. Um, I wrote a children's story about so this is about a mermaid who gets trapped on the land, and she has to learn how to live that way. So being a mermaid with only a tail, she had to figure out how to live on the land like that. And so in a sense, it was my way of presenting somebody, with a disability without them, like, like a mermaid is in her natural state, but she's in this unnatural environment. So part of the reason I wanted to write the story this way was because it was really about this character's interaction with her environment more than it being I didn't want to portray it as a disability. It was just her physical attribute that wasn't suited for this particular environment that she suddenly found herself in. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And actually, that's a quite good analogy. Not a person having to navigate a world that's not built for them. You hear about disabled people struggling with that all the time. And so yeah, that I guess can be qualified as a disability in the scenario. Is there anything that you would want help with in terms of, I don't know, a character or anything?
Well, so the character was actually inspired by a disabled person who actually had a life-altering injury and suddenly found themselves, disabled and had to learn how to adapt. And so I'm not really so this particular character I've actually I've written the book and it's going to be published, but so I don't know, like I wasn't really asking for any help about that particular character, I guess, but it was just, it's something that I was working on. The person who inspired the story, however, I am writing a screenplay with her help about her life and her own experience, which was, a rather scary experience. Um, but the thing that struck me about this person wasn't her history, and she doesn't it's not the thing that you see when you look at her. She's a one-legged lady who taught herself how to dance like that, and she dances really, really beautifully. And this is the thing that caught my attention, was that she's a really, really good dancer. And I had to know more about her because it looked like a gravity-defying act to me. What happened to this woman is that she actually had her right leg torn off her body at the hip, which is a life-threatening injury. And she miraculously survived and then taught herself how to dance to give herself joy, but she ended up inspiring other people because it was actually a really brave act for her to teach herself how to dance all by herself. And like, I found it so inspiring. It gave me courage to actually want to, like, share this person's story with the world, because um she had every reason to be angry, with about what happened to her and about how society treated her afterwards. Instead, she embraced, this new potential, and learned to live every moment, and tried to find ways of creating her own joy. Um, and so I think, she's a really good role model. Not just for disabled people, I think for everybody, because I think a lot of us have forgotten how to deal with setbacks. And I think that having powerful role models like that are a big help to everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is one of my heroes. I actually had to learn Vietnamese to learn her story, because you can't she doesn't speak much English.
Right. That's taken research to a whole new level. Yeah, that's good. Lasagna and Pollock came up with an idea for a show for mermaids. I'm very much looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, I want to do a mermaid show, dude. Thanks for the inspiration. Mermaids are awesome.
Yeah, that sounds so cool. If we do work together, I'm so excited for you. Anyone have any other any ideas that they want help with? Yeah.
Willow
You,
said
you,
she'd.
oh,
Oh, sorry, I was about to tell you what she said.
okay. Yeah. Oh, you're still unmuted. Just so you know. Thank you. Yeah, Willow, you are more welcome to share your script. And you sent it already, didn't you? Yeah. Willow, is there anything that you want to say? Tell us about your script.
Hmm. One of the things that I really struggle with in the script is how much to say to make it clear to everybody what my character is doing and why she is doing things, but still being concise enough to get there's supposed to be a flow to it, and stopping constantly to describe my character's wheelchair or it can get very repetitive, and like I don't know exactly how much needs to be said and how much doesn't need to be said. I've had not the script, but in another script I had the reader was confused because my character is running and yet she's supposed to be in a wheelchair, and that reader apparently glossed over as to what type of wheelchair it was, and then spent the entire rest of the script being completely confused because she didn't understand the movements.
Mm.
Um
I had an issue similar to that where I had a wheelchair user and they're walking, but not walking, just crawling on their hands and feet. And yeah, that's part of the issue as well about rights and disability. What words to use to make it as clear as possible. But yeah, we can read this. How many characters do we have in this window?
we don't have to read the whole thing.
Actually, we won't, 'cause it's 14 pages. So is there any bit in particular that you want us to look at?
How about there is a scene I'm thinking of the scene under a tree. It's two kids sitting under a tree eating their lunch. Let's see, where is it? Okay, it starts at, let's see, the bottom of page 5. And it's just a small little section.
Page 5. Let me open it up.
The very, very bottom.
Exterior tree. There. Okay. Alright, I will share the screen so that everyone can read it at the same time.
So kind of a little bit of backstory which led us to this. Pop and Jay is she uses a wheelchair. This is not a world with any humans. These are all actually dragons. And
sorry, what's this called again? What's the script called?
Well, the series is called Draglets of Makara. And this is just a little mini episode. I just kind of wrote it to get my thoughts down. It's called Kebabs -3.
Alright.
In this case, Pop and Jay cannot walk. So she is a 4-legged dragon, and so she uses a dog-style wheelchair, which is why she can still walk and run and such. But she is incapable of sitting, and so when she has the opportunity, she will exit out of her wheelchair and just sit on the ground.
Alright. Cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to do a table read kind of thing where everyone takes a different character. Oh, are we just doing the one scene, or I know, it's all action. Okay, we'll just do one scene. All right
I think
then.
I'd like to discuss the logistics of just this one scene under the tree.
Yeah. Okay then.
'Cause,
Go
on. Yeah, because a normal human wheelchair would probably not go anywhere near this kind of a tree, since it is like a tree with gnarly roots. But a dog style wheelchair, and I will post a picture of her in the chat.
That's a good point. What kind of terrain is this? Is this because when I read it, I've read this before. When I read it, I thought it was a sort of foresty area. Oh no, I thought it was a field area, like a school field.
It is.
Okay.
They are at school, and it's basically their lunch break. And so these two girls choose to take their lunch under a tree. Just kind of separate themselves.
All right, cool. Let's start reading. Do we have any volunteers to read this for us? Is there anyone who wants to read it?
I'll read.
Thank you, Lasagna. Take it away when you're ready.
Okay. So I read the whole thing to
Just
all
the
of you?
scene. So from the top of the slugland to the bell rings.
Slugline to the bell ring? Wait, what?
Just
So
one scene.
from page 1, right?
Oh, have you got the stream open?
Oh, the stream.
Yeah, I'm screen
Okay.
sharing it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I got it. Exterior, tree, day. A large tree with gnarly roots. Poppinjay's wheelchair sits nearby, empty. Ginseng and Poppinjay relax on the roots of a large tree, munching on the kebabs. The wheelchair sits nearby, empty. Ginseng and Poppinjay relax under the tree, munching on the wait. Oh, so sorry. I'm fucking blind.
Oh,
I reread that twice. Anyway,
right.
No, you didn't.
Ginseng sits like a normal dog. What?
You didn't read it twice. It's the lines are very similar.
Oh,
No,
sorry
I
about that.
think blame me for that poor editing.
Okay. I got so scared.
No worries, okay.
No,
Keep going.
call that a typo.
Okay. Munching on the kebabs. Ginseng sits like a normal dog, but Popinjay, with paralyzed legs, has an awkward position. Now visible is a gnarly scar along her spine that's usually hidden beneath her wings. The pan of kebabs sit between them. They finish all but 3. The pan sits between them. Bell rings. Oh, jeez. That's
Alright,
okay, Willow.
thank you.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay, Willow.
Thank you for sharing it.
It's so painful. It is so painful. Yeah, it needs some editing.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I think you can, when you read it aloud, you get to see a bit of what needs adjusting and stuff. But yeah, does anyone have any feedback for Willow? maybe about how this scene could work better. Oh, we're getting a bit of feedback. Wait a minute, echo. I was going to mute Denise. Seems like we got 2 accounts for them. Just that we don't have any kind of echo. Chronic likes how it has no dialogue.
So can I, like, one of the things that I was just, that struck me is that I think in the script it says that Pop and Jay sitting in an awkward position. I like, if that could be a bit more descriptive, I guess, because I don't get really a strong sense of what that means. Does that make, yeah?
Yeah, that's a very good point. When you're sitting in a weird position, what is that weird position, and how does it look? Absolutely.
And I think in this short scene you mentioned the wheelchair twice, and it probably only needs to be mentioned once.
Yeah,
If
I
I
think what
remember.
happened there was these lines were copied and pasted, and I think she was going to see which one worked better. I think that's what happened there. Which version did you decide on keeping with it? Which of these?
I think the first one was.
Okay.
Yeah, the first.
I will. That's black apparently. We'll ignore these 2 lines. So yeah, ignoring those 2 lines that are highlighted in grey. Anyone have any other feedback for Willow?
So the other thing I would like, it mentions that she is it she, well, I guess it is Pop and Jay a female character? I can't tell, but um it hold on, did I
Yes, she's a girl.
it's a female character. It mentions something about her having a gnarly scar. Is this like, but this is a character that's already been established, so I guess, just reading it, like, it might be interesting to know, like, I don't know if you want to talk about, if it's introducing the character, if you want to mention the origin of the scar here, or whether this has already been exposed at some other point in the story, or.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing I wanted to kind of have bring up, kind of thing. So she was injured 5 years 5 years ago from this point. And it we have met this character before. She's been in the scenes from the beginning, but this is kind of the first time we're seeing her just out of her wheelchair. Normally, her wings are covering this bad scar that she got several years ago. And I actually don't want to go into what happened to her, at least not at this time in the show. That's something that might come further down the line. Her having a scar, it it's not an important part of her. It's just a natural part of her body, and she doesn't care who sees it. She's not embarrassed by her scar, and when she's out of her wheelchair, it is very much visible, but it is not an important feature for the scene or for anything in this episode in her life.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was actually going to ask you whether like the scar is important. I mean, the reason it occurred to me is because like the woman who I referred to earlier, her scars are something that she likes to conceal. You know, like she, um, yeah. So for her, it would like something like that would be a big deal. You know, like. You know, but yeah, like if it's not something important for the character, it's yeah, okay.
Um, you you mentioned this, and this is actually something I wanted to include on in another episode. So she is at school, and thus kind of anyone who knows her who has been around quite a they wouldn't react to her. Her sitting underneath this tree every day for who knows how many years, for like 5 years, is completely normal to everyone. But so they wouldn't be staring, but the reactions would be different for like the kindergartner kids who come in and are seeing it for the first time, or in an episode that I'm writing on, a teacher, a brand new teacher in the school would have a completely different reaction to a teacher who has known her for years.
Mm.
That is a little something I'm in a script I'm currently working on. But it's kind of, I don't know, be kind of confusing to write.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, well, I guess in like the way you've written the character, like you said that in general like she doesn't really like her appearance. I'm assuming that the scar is from the accident that caused her paralysis. Is that correct or?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, like, I guess well, this particular character it isn't really a concern, I guess, about, you know, how they look. You know, like, I know that there are people who are very concerned about, you know, like, especially after getting a life-altering injury, like what, you know, like how it impacts their appearance is yet another aspect often. Um, you know, it's secondary, but you know, like as I learned through by interacting with this woman, you know, like writing to her, you know, like her scars were something that and I think she also isn't that willing to share that very openly either. I mean, she happens to be very pretty lady, and I think one of the things that had like having her leg torn off was, you know, like how like the disfiguring aspect of it was something that also was very deeply affecting her. Um, you know, so I don't know if that's something that you might want to explore with this character or not, but I know in the particular case, the person I was working with, you know, or that I correspond with, I mean, it is something that she's very aware of.
Absolutely, and that is something that I would love to address in other episodes. For Pop and Jay in particular, she um she's kind of proud of her wheelchair. She doesn't mind talking about her disability or or issues. She's not embarrassed by a scar, but she meeting somebody else who very much is, that both of their perspectives are absolutely valid. And so that's kind of part of what the series is Pop and Jay growing and learning and meeting other dragons in the cities and learning about other perspectives. So that is absolutely something that would be addressed. So I did kind of want to say a lot about her character just by having her sit in the open and having her body exposed. Is she doesn't give a care. She is not self-conscious about it. Her wings, she's not capable of utilizing her wings. She's lost functionality, and so that is something that also becomes much more obvious when she's outside of her chair. So that's kind of what I want to say, just by having her sit there, but without actually saying it in the script. And I don't know if that actually comes out.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm wondering, does anybody else have ideas on how that might be, like, if they're... what does everybody else think? Did you get a sense that you know, of what is it Willow? Yeah, what
Yeah.
Willow was saying about you know, because like now that you explain it, like I can see it, but I'm wondering if, like, just in reading it, you get that as much of a sense of that she isn't self-conscious. Maybe writing something, you know, indicating that she isn't self-conscious about the scar might be, you know, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's important or not. What does the rest of the group think?
I mean, for me personally, I think that you can't. So just read what Dennis is saying. You can't really say things like that in a screenplay generally, because
No.
you know you have to keep your word count to a minimum, and you can't really write people's emotions in a script. Or not very easily. You can't show off something like how self-conscious you are. But also I think that the fact that it's not mentioned, you know, there's no sign of her being self-conscious, does in a way say that she isn't self-conscious. I mean, I don't think she showed off a scar. Well, she's not hiding scars at the same time. If you're self-conscious of something, for example, I'm self-conscious of my feet, and I would hide them away. So it's that similar sort of thing. If you're self-conscious of something, you will hide it. Yeah.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Anyone else have any feedback for Willow? Denise says maybe introduce it so that it's normalized.
Okay, that's a fair point. Any advice on how to introduce it? Yeah.
Yeah. Since there was a
Denise,
problem with
sorry.
the.
Denise, do
Sorry.
you want me to unmute you? Or if that's easier.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I actually, you know, I think there's, you know, like I think with what Joel said, it makes sense to just leave it. I don't know if you have to add anything else, because you do get this sense that she's relatively comfortable and at ease. Like even the fact that you mentioned that she's sitting in this awkward position, it is enough to suggest that she's willing to, just sit out in the open like this. Um, the only thing that I would add is like, I mean, it is interesting. Like I think the choice of words in that regard actually does paint a good picture. It just like, in terms of interpreting the script, I guess, like, getting a better sense of, what that means was, like just having a little bit extra detail about how she's sitting. I don't think that it's really necessary to elaborate more on the scar itself, though, uh, based on what I've heard so far between what both of you said.
I do think that if you did want to bring attention to the scar, since there was a problem with the other girls not really. Okay, so I did read the whole script, so I'm going to talk about things that don't make sense to other people. So when the other girls that Pop and Jay and Ginseng are like against, like they don't really do anything to them, and we don't get the sense that they have ever done anything to them, which I guess is the point. But also, if Pop and Jay and Ginseng are like doing like or like sort of bullying them without any retaliation and whatnot from these girls who seem to not like them either, you could try to have one of them point out the scar ignorantly and be a little rude about it, with Ginseng and Pop and Jay just sort of responding nonchalantly. It's just sort of a moment that could happen. I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to, if you wanted to introduce the scar, it could be in that way.
I like that. I'm gonna make a note of that.
All
I
right.
like that. Yeah. Just perhaps a comment that could be taken either innocently or not, but it can be interpreted perhaps multiple ways. I don't know. I like that. One thing I did struggle with this is showcasing the bullying. Besides what Pop and Jay does, is to showcase the animosity between these two groups. And yeah, I like your suggestion. I want to comment real quick to something Denise said. She said, "How did the accident happen?" And that is something I don't want to address for a while. I do have an introductory movie that working on that where we actually see it, what happened, but I don't want to say how that
So is that
happened.
like a reveal later on?
Less about a reveal and more of it's not important. It is a major event in her life, but whether or not the audience or the public knows is irrelevant to her character and to her story.
I like that.
She is just an average kid growing up. She's a it is just about her being a normal kid who happens to be in a wheelchair. And so the accident itself is kind of irrelevant to her growing and learning. It's like when you see know, you go to a grocery store, you see someone in public. You don't need to know their past in order to respect them and to empathize with them.
I love your outlook. I just like thinking wheelchair basketball. Like, would you have her doing sports activities? I'm finally unmuted, so I can finally talk.
Yeah.
So I
We
thank
can
you all for tolerating my texting.
we hear your voice. Yes, she is an athlete. She does more like cross country running. That is kind of her sport, because she is incapable of sitting. She has incredible endurance and upper body strength. And so her her sport of choice is long distance running.
Gotcha. Love it.
It was a really cool because this is a pre-existing web series. Am I allowed to share one of your videos, Willow, that you had made?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yes. I'll explain. I've been working on this character and for quite a few years now, and I made some animated shorts, kind of just showcasing the character and trying to uh, build hype. Unfortunately, my imposter syndrome got the better of me, and as well as they are quite expensive to make. But you can't hear the tortilla. Joe, can you try talking again?
Can you hear me?
You have a beautiful voice, but it's very low
Okay.
for me.
Right, so in
Now
that
I can
case...
hear you.
Oh, you can hear me.
Now I
Okay,
can
that's
hear
good.
you.
That's
Thank
good.
you so much. Please continue. I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah. So this episode kind of highlights her upper body strength, and yeah, it showcases her upper body strength, and also we get to meet her dad, and how others view her is a key to this episode. She's just a poor, sweet little child in a wheelchair. Oh, how tragic.
Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not a sweet little kid. So anyway, yeah, that's that. You're free to watch the episode or episodes. Right? And I will say one thing that I liked about this episode is the manipulation. Drock is a drill sergeant. He's the father, and he absolutely uses manipulation, and he uses his daughter's disability to manipulate his cadets. Oh, thank you, lasagna. Thank you.
Alright, if that is feedback from everyone who wants to comment on that, on the script. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. I think everyone's covered everything. Maybe I would say what kind of terrain it is, because if it was a forest as I thought it might be, then wheelchairs. I mean, I can tell you, wheelchairs do not like forests or that kind of thing. I mean, actually, the scene before is a school. I don't know, maybe saying it's near a school tree, or making the tree a sub scene, as it were, sub location. That might make it slightly clearer. But other than that, I think it's very good. And I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, yeah, it is a school. It is a tree on the school premises.
Okay.
But yeah, a human wheelchair would really struggle with going there. With her style of wheelchair, it can be a struggle, but not nearly as much as a human.
Okay. Can I be a dragon then, please?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Can I be a dragon? I want to be a dragon.
Okay,
I'll just breathe
let's
fire
just-
on everyone.
My
Is there-
dragon's sonar. Okay.
Anyone else who wants feedback on their script or on a scene or a character?
Yeah, I don't have any right now, though. Now I want to make one. So,
Yeah, do
next
it.
time. Next time.
Right, I am going to talk to Willow quickly and see if no one else got any feedback. What we might do is, we'll see. Tell you what, why don't we do a character prompt? So for those who are new to the server, we have on the server a channel called Character Prompt, where every day an image is posted to the channel, and you basically come up with a log line or something like that to describe a character or describe what's in the image or whatever. So sorry about that. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll post an image for you to take a look at. And yeah, describe who you think they are as a character. You can choose whether you want to describe them as a character or describe the scene or whatever. Give me a second to download it. It's won't let me. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, I'm having technical problems over here. I cannot copy an image. Right, so in the chat, I am going to post an image, and as I say, you can choose what you want to write. No, it is still not letting me. Alright, backup time. Willow, is there anything that you wanted to do? Yeah.
Not specifically. This time around, I definitely have ideas for the next one.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, I wonder if other people have any ideas about what they would like to cover in future. I was going to say future episodes, future versions of this. What are people looking for? And we can try and adapt to what you need, maybe. Alright, I was finally able to get my image. So in the chat, I have posted an image of two disabled people, and you can write about either one of them, and you can do it either as writing a character and describing them as a person a bit, or you can write a scene. It's completely up to you, and we'll have about 10 minutes doing that. And yeah, we'll look at what everyone's got, or maybe 5 minutes. We'll see.
They're strong. I could never lift someone up.
Oh yes, they are. They are very strong.
Oops. Screen share. A good picture, honestly.
It's really interesting watching wheelchair basketball because they can trip over and fall actually quite a lot. And so
Oh my god.
Wheelchair rugby is literally nicknamed Death Ball because, I mean, you think about how violent rugby is. I haven't added metal into the mix, like,
Death ball.
murder
yes. Murder ball, that's what it's called, yeah. The muscle you need to have, like, as a wheelchair user, you do not understand the amount of skill that they have to be able to turn that, like, agile while holding the ball, and, like, I just could not.
Yeah.
It's truly a skill. My god. I'm gonna start watching that.
Oh gosh.
And then I'm gonna wince when they bump in, when they just tackle each other.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not really one that you would enjoy watching. It's a very,
I was
aggressive.
just thinking that. I would get scared.
It gets a lot more full body contact than you would expect. Oh.
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't all have broken fingers or something.
Oh geez, no kidding. Oh no, the one that gets me is hockey. wheelchair hockey. Oh, that looks like it would take off your fingers.
I haven't
Oh
seen
my
that.
God. I have never seen that.
Oh, really? Oh,
No.
yeah. They got special sit skis. They're like right above the ice, and you can see their, putting their hand down on the ice, and someone else comes and anyway.
Their passion and skill is palpable. I could never.
The freaking strength, the upper body strength of it all.
Yeah.
Wow. Murder ball. I've never heard of that.
Murder Ball Trevor. Yeah,
Huh.
Murder Ball is the rugby. Wait, no. What do you
Yeah.
say?
Wheelchair rugby, yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
Huh. Interesting. I know.
Oh wait, are we writing something right now?
Yes.
Oh, I thought this was for tomorrow, or I mean, some other time.
No, this is
Or
this is we're gonna have just 3 more minutes, and then we'll try and yeah. You can have a log line, you
Yeah.
can have a scene, or a bit of character description, whatever you feel like, and then we'll.
My brain lagged. Okay.
So do we read it to you, or do we submit the what we write in the chat, or?
Yeah, if you can put it in the chat, please. And I think we'll give 30 seconds. Ten seconds. I know I gave a lot more than 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and we'll call it there. I mean, that time is arbitrary because you can post it while I'm still reading the others. But yeah, let's take a look at what people have got. So from Willow, exterior, but basketball court day. Fans cheer as the wheelchair athletes zoom down the court. Xander, 28, wearing a Lions jersey, chases the opposing Tornadoes player. As the Tornado aims to shoot, Xander reaches to block. Their chairs crash and tilt as they scramble for control of the ball. Nice. When I read it, wheelchair athlete didn't sound right. It is right. I don't know. I think that was just my brain not reading it properly. Then
I didn't really use the bolding or the all caps for the characters. I just kind of wrote it.
that's fine. In fairness, I did say you could write it in whatever format. It doesn't necessarily have to be screenplay. Just a bit of I think these courts tend to be indoor for wheelchair basketball, but that's fine because I'm sure somewhere will be exterior courts. Anyone got feedback for Willow's piece of work? Just quickly. I love their chairs crash and tilt as they scramble for the ball. I think tilt might be a bit gentle, because wheelchair basketball is quite an aggressive sport. I think maybe tip or something a bit more like that might be better. And maybe we can have you could have added like a sort of montage to this of high action because it's a very fast paced sport and sort of a you sort of zoom into the different clashes and the different moves and that sort of thing. Well, that's well written. Newt says, with only 12 seconds left on the clock, Stephen finds Mark open on the left and makes a quick pass. Without hesitating, Mark takes the pass, lines up, net in his sights, and lets the ball go. Nothing but net. He exclaims as the ball sinks through the hoop. The buzzer goes as Team Canada score the game, winning goal over the Czech Republic. Mark wheels over to Stephen, who lifts him up into the air. They did it. A come from behind victory, and now it's off to face the Swedes in the finals. Cool. So this is more of a pros format, but it worked. It's yeah, it's good. Again, it might be interesting to zoom more into the different action. I don't know how many of you have actually seen wheelchair basketball. Anyone got feedback for Newt?
Go Canada!
Yeah.
Thanks, Willow.
And Lasagna has given us a look now. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I just read it because I was typing and I couldn't read it. But I like it. I like it. That's all. Thank you.
Lasagna has given us more of a it's a bit like what you see in the title prompt. Metal Bonds is a family feature sports drama. Logline. One dreams of basketball, another dreams of a quiet night at home. When two best friends enter a basketball tournament, thanks to one's persistence, their friendship is tested as they prepare themselves to face off against a ruthless rival.
I didn't know whether to specify I had wheelchairs or not. I've never watched this before. But yeah, that's my log line. I'm not good at log lines, but I wrote one anyway.
That's good, that's fine. So I think we've got two friends and they're very different it seems. One wants to be in a wheelchair basketball tournament and the other wants to be at home. And I guess the wheelchair basketball guy has convinced the home guy to enter. I kind of want to know how their friendship is tested.
It's sort of like one did this basically against their will. It's like, I signed us both up for this thing. Isn't that fun? And it's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So Joel, is this the kind of sport that if you like you'd leave pretty quickly if you're not having fun?
Well, I wouldn't do it. I value my body, even if it doesn't work like a common body. There's a lot of aggression in it involved. I wonder if I can find a clip. Wheelchair basketball.
I can just see them in Lasagna's movie. I wonder if I see them like switching positions. The one who wanted to do it, maybe something happens and they're not enjoying as much as they want. They were, but the guy who likes staying home, he's starting to get into it.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, like the role reversal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I knew what basketball was in general, I'd write this. I know nothing about sports.
Neither do I,
Right.
to
So
be fair.
basketball is this game. It has a ball and it has a basket.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I am here to help.
Alright, thanks for coming everyone. I think we're going to wrap this up to a close. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We'll be on WordCamp, so make sure to join us over there. And let me get the link for you.
Goodbye. You will be missed.
Let me send you the link. There we go. So that's our WordCamp version for same sort of thing, same sort of idea, and yeah. Again, it's been wonderful to have you all here and try and work out your disabled characters. And hopefully we'll see you next week at the same time.
It's been real.
Thanks, Joel.
Alright, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.